This is a homily that I gave first in July of 1995. The week prior, I had also preached. The week prior, the gospel was the Good Samaritan, the story of a man, a foreigner, who had stopped to help someone who was supposed to be his enemy on the side of the road where he had been hurt. And at the very end of that last week's gospel, Jesus asked the question, which of these three, the three who could have stopped, in your opinion, was neighbor to the man who fell in with the robbers? The answer came, the one who treated him with compassion. Jesus said to him, then go and do the same. This week's gospel passage, from the 16th Sunday in Ordinary Time, is also from Luke's 10th chapter, 38th through 42nd verse. Jesus entered a village where a woman named Martha welcomed him to her home. She had a sister named Mary, who seated herself at the Lord's feet and listened to his words. Martha, who was busy with all the details of hospitality, came to him and said, Lord, are you not concerned that my sister has left me all alone to do the household tasks? Tell her to help me. The Lord in reply said to her, Martha, Martha, you are anxious and upset about many things. One thing only is required. Mary has chosen the better portion, and she shall not be deprived of it. The Gospel of the Lord. Then go and do the same, Jesus told the lawyer. That's how last week's gospel ended. How was your week changed because of that statement? Were you like the Good Samaritan? Did you stop to see someone who was in need, even though it was out of your way, and even though they were different from you? Did you give some time to another to bring Jesus alive in their life? Or did someone treat you with compassion this week? Were you like the man left half dead in the ditch, lost at work, faced with a crisis in your marriage, or watching a child of yours lose direction in their lives? Did you wake up in the most unexpected time or place, like the victim along the road, and realize Jesus had just touched your life again, had just offered you a cool drink when your thirst seemed unquenchable, had just brought home that messed up child before his curfew, sporting the most boyish grin on his face, wanting to tell you that he'd had a great day, how some adult had made him feel like a real person when he helped her? Did you get the gift of someone's time this week? Someone who loved you? How was your week changed by last week's gospel? Luke shifts us in his gospel from the story of the compassionate Samaritan, the foreigner who helped a wounded man bleeding in a ditch, to a story of three special friends, two sisters who are as different as night and day, and their good friend, Jesus of Nazareth, whose presence brings the day's sunshine inside a home. Jesus arrives at the Bethany home of some of his closest friends in the Gospels, Mary, Martha, and their brother Lazarus, whom he will later raise from the dead. Bethany is near Jerusalem. Jesus is headed to that special city to die. He suspects that much. Everyone who loves him is perplexed with the prospect of the threat to his life. He reflects on it regularly with them. In his story of the compassionate Samaritan, they know Jesus saw himself as one who will soon be in the ditch. Now he comes to the house of his close friends, anxious over the threats to his ministry, to his very life. What most of all do you think Jesus wants and needs during his visit? A sumptuous dinner fit for a prince? A perfect setting? Many happy friends laughing and joking? Or quiet, peaceful solitude? a quiet, listening, sympathetic soul. What do you think Jesus wants? Martha doesn't stop to wonder, to think, to listen. She presses on as the perfect hostess, anxious over every detail. Her only failure is to keep her sister Mary on track, helping her make sure their guest has everything he might possibly want. Martha stops only to go through her built-in checklist of his possible requests. Though she is not ready, Jesus is suddenly at the door. Martha sets aside her broom and dustcloth and welcomes their dear friend. When he enters the room, a room Martha knows is still unfinished and not ready for a guest, Mary falls to his feet and sits there enthralled, simply listening to Jesus, while Martha again busies herself. If she would only walk silently back into the room, Martha would hear Jesus' hopes at the prospect of a quiet, intimate visit with his close friends. But bursting in, already pleading that Jesus direct Mary back to her chores, Martha misses his words and thus has no idea what he really wants of his visit. Spouses and parents of Prince of Peace in Plano, Texas. Adult Christian Catholics in relationship with others while pursuing your own professional goals and commitments. I know many of you. Many of you know me. I have worked the 12, the 16-hour days you are working, and I still do some days. I have carried work home late, relieved when my spouse and children are peacefully asleep, so I can complete my work tasks, as if that's ever possible. I have tried to fill my family's world with soccer games and t-ball games, dancing classes and drill team, with Macintoshes and TV, tennis leagues and bridge groups. I have earned 1 million Advantage miles and more. I know how to be Martha so very well. But do I have a capacity to be Mary? Can I stop and watch the beauty of my wife's smile in the morning before I go off to work? Can I turn and look at my son or my daughter in the eye when they ask me a question and give them me and my time, all of me? Can I see the emptiness in watching a video with my family instead of sharing a meal together? Can I sit at the feet of my friend who needs me to listen totally while she shares her pain, no matter what caused it or who caused it? Can I cry with the poor and rejected? Can I find the time and devotion to simply love another as Jesus did, as Jesus loves me? Can I be the Mary Jesus chose to visit when he needed a loving friend? Will I get in the ditch with the victims in our society and with Jesus and give them my time? Will I choose the better portion?